Welcome everyone to the Maronite faith. Today's episode is going to treat this question, which is, what does the Maronite cross mean? You see the Maronite cross right above the title of our program. It's a cross basically with 8 endings and surrounded by a circle. Why is it that this cross represents our community? And if you go to the oldest monastery in Lebanon, St. Anthony Chaaya in the north, you will see that this actually logo of the church, if we can say, this cross is engraved in the stone as you enter that monastery. If you look at your mass books, you will see that there is only this cross. There is no other depicting of any other icon or picture in the mass book except for this cross. So it must mean something. Today we're going to see, what does this cross really mean to us? The number 8 is a little bit weird. If our cross had 7 symbols on it, or 7 endings around it, then it would have been easy to guess. You will say, okay, probably it's the 7 sacraments of the church. It's probably 7 is the number of perfection, that's why it is 7. But 8 is very difficult to know. Why did this person called Rabula, R-A-B-B-U-L-A, Rabula in the 6th century, when he decided to write the Gospels and said, this community of Christians living in Antioch and that's being persecuted at the time, I'm going to basically represent them with a cross that describes them. And he basically painted that cross, that specific cross from the 6th century. You will say then he put those 8 kind of circles around it. The number 8 is difficult to find in the Bible. You will say, what is 8? Is it 7 plus 1? What did he really want to say in that cross? Tradition says that those 8 circles around our cross are basically the 8 jewels that Jesus gave us in his Sermon on the Mount. When he sat and said, called the Beatitudes, in Matthew chapter 5, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So we start with the kingdom of heaven from the first beatitude, blessed are the poor in spirit, and we finish with the last ones. Those 8 beatitudes basically of Christ describe what the Christian should be, what we really should be in our lives. Am I poor in spirit, or I don't need God anymore? What does poor in spirit mean? I don't need any tangible thing. I don't need the wealth of this world. I'm really poor because what I need is the presence of God in my life. No matter how much wealth I accumulate, no matter how much education I accumulate, if I do not have God in my life, then I am poor. And he said to them, blessed are the poor in spirit, those who admit that they need God in their lives, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn. Do I feel for the suffering of others, or I don't? They are in pain, they lost a loved one, and me, I'm completely indifferent. Christ is calling me to mourn with those who mourn, basically. Blessed are the meek. Am I meek, or do I say that my ego does not allow me to even consider the word meek in my life? And basically we go through those 8 beatitudes and we see that they are the main teaching of Christ when he gave his Sermon on the Mount. And they are really the new measure that we have in our lives. When I go to the confession room, Do I go to the confession room putting in front of me just the 10 commandments and say, oh, well, I did not steal. I do honor my mom and dad. I went to mass on Sunday. I do not, I have not basically committed this sin or that sin. They're all okay. I'm done. I go to confession just because I need to go to confession. That's not correct. If I am to go to confession like how the saints went to confession, I need to consider those 8 beatitudes and ask myself, have I been merciful enough? Have I been a peacemaker? Or I looked at problems and I did not want to actually have anything to do with them? Do I hunger and thirst for righteousness? And do I basically, am I meek? Or as what I mentioned, my ego is taking over my life? If I put those 8 beatitudes in front of me and then I go to confession, I will realize that I have a long way to go, that I always need God's grace in order for me to be able to live those 8 beatitudes. And that's why, my dear viewers, you see a circle around that cross. It's to tell you, you will never be there. I can never say, I am meek, I am poor in spirit, I am the one who fights for righteousness. You will say, I'm trying to be meek. I'm basically trying to be poor in spirit. I'm trying to fight for righteousness, but I cannot say I arrived there. Not one of those beatitudes, the 8th one, you can say you have fully achieved. You are always on a journey of growth. And that's why there is this circle to remind you to be humble, that you need to always work on yourself in order to reach basically to be more and more Christ-like. And in order to do that, you need His grace. And you need the prayers of the people around you, of the Christian community, to be able to remain within those 8 beatitudes. And so, my dear viewers, what does our cross mean basically? It means to us, look at Him who has been basically nailed to the cross. Before He was nailed to the cross, He lived all those 8 beatitudes that He spoke about. It's not a person who preached something but lived something else. Christ, before He was nailed to the cross, He lived all those 8 beatitudes in order to teach us, if you want to be like me, live those beatitudes and then give all yourself as a sacrifice of love. And I do hope that I gave our cross, I was able to explain the meaning of our cross. And remember, if you have any questions to do with our faith or any question at all, you can always send an email to Ask a Maronite, all one word, Ask a Maronite, MARONITE, @hotmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I wish you all a beautiful day, and may God bless you always.